So a couple of years ago, I was studying architecture and I was waitressing in my spare time to earn some money to get through the very expensive course. And one day I was donning my black uniform and I looked at the instructions and I saw that today we're going to be serving at the European Convention of Real Estate and Property Owners. And I thought, wow, exciting. In one room in a hotel in Marylebone was going to be all the companies and individuals that owned all the biggest portfolios of land in Europe. And they would be there talking about what they were going to do with it. So without any prospect of owning, or with no property to my name, nor any prospect of this changing, the study of architecture had come to seem like a fever dream of just what you could do if you had some of that magical elixir that cascades you with wealth, property, land, city blocks, buildings, tower blocks, docks, vacant lots, houses. Here I was going to find out who owned all this stuff and what they dreamed of doing with it. Exhilarating. What interesting, clever, visionary people would gather together in this common good. Of course, I was wrong. Very, you could say, misguided from the outset, but at least my veins were still pumping with the red-hot blood of what could be. This conference was a zombie apocalypse. A teeming, seething mass of middle-aged white men in suits staring blankly over their awful conference biscuits, dunking them in their grey coffee and then into their thin-lipped mouths. The crumbs spilt from the biscuits and flaked from their croissants, and as they all moved towards the presentation room, and as I cleared up the crumbs and followed them with the other girls, I felt like the boy from The Witches who gets turned into the mouse, and I snuck into the room to hear about their plan for the future of owning stuff in cities. The reason I tell you this is not to demonstrate how bitter I am that boring middle-aged men own all the property that we live, work, and play on, although I am bitter about that, but to bring to your attention that these guys have no ideas at all, literally none, zilch. That conference was so snoozy. They flashed up some predictions about places people might like to expand their portfolios into. One of those places people might like to expand their portfolio into was London. But they have no thoughts about what to do with it once they have it to make a more interesting city. Unsurprisingly, they're just building beige coffin-type housing on the land to make lazy money. What is worse is the government is giving them public land and holdings to build this on. The things they build have no architectural merit, they're not affordable, and there's not enough of them. The reason they get this privilege, I think, is because they speak the same language of the investment strategies and planning policy experts as the politicians. I wanted to stick my hand up in that conference and ask, but apart from the money, and fine, money is fine, we all like money, it buys nice things, what else should we do with all this land? We could build something great, or we could just build something simple and beautiful that provides for people's lives. But I felt I couldn't ask. There, just like in London, you only have a voice in property if you're big, bloated and powerful. And yet it is the young people, the old people, those that rent, struggle and actually live here, property developers usually live out of town, that make the place worthwhile. And public land should be ours, not theirs. So I don't usually like banning things. I'm against banning things. But for the new mayoral candidate, I'd like to suggest banning any volume house builders from having any more public land. So we could say, thanks, Taylor Wimpey, it's been great for you, but for us, it's not been so good. Goodbye. And next, to replace that, there should be an open process whereby the city retains ownership of the land that is developed, or it's put into a community land trust. Each plot of land should be given to a different architect/construction team. The construction team is chosen by the architect, not the other way around. And finally, politicians have no taste. We all know this. So unless we want London to have no visual culture at all, we should reinstate a city architect to be appointed by someone other than the mayor. Ollie can do it. Someone that champions new and daring. The city architect can decide on the brief for each piece of land and each team to work on our most precious common possession. Thanks.